Hey everybody, welcome to another video review. This is an unexpected one that I wasn't really planning to get, but for those of you who follow my channel, you will know that I do have a signature version of this. But I'm going to be doing a review about the Master Replicas Thermo Detonator, and this is the as first built by version. Okay, as first built by version. And so I am going to move this around and talk about it like I usually do. I'm a lightsaber collector. My main focus is on the Master Replicas and EFX lightsabers, especially the Signature Edition and Elite Edition versions of those. I'm also interested in the prop shop Kylo Ren and Rey Skywalker hilts, but I think those were made in such limited quantities before that company went out of business that I don't have really much hope of getting my hands on those. I'm still kind of hoping that eventually, if there's enough demand, that EFX will release their own licensed and more definitive editions, especially the signature versions. But occasionally I do make exceptions. For instance, I'm quite interested in the Master Replicas AT-AT walkers, both the Signature Edition and Limited Edition, and I do own a Master Replicas Signature Edition Millennium Falcon. I'm 49 years old, and I grew up obviously at a time when the original trilogy was huge, and so my heart and my fond memories and my nostalgia is still all with the original trilogy. And so I really wanted to have licensed signatures of the three main actors in the trilogy, being Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford. And so Mark Hamill is actually one of the easier ones because during the heyday of Master Replicas, he was extraordinarily generous with his time and energy, and he put out not one, not two, but three signature editions, one for each of the lightsabers from the original trilogy movies. Carrie Fisher only had two. One is her signature blaster from A New Hope, and the other one is, of course, the Thermo Detonator from Return of the Jedi. And of those two, the Thermo Detonator is much easier to procure, mainly because any blasters run into a lot of problems with customs. A lot of them are basically, they can't get through customs. They're essentially taken by customs. And, that's a problem because initially these were sold all over the world. And so a lot of these signature edition blasters found their way to the United Kingdom or Australia. And so not very easy to get. And also, I'm not a big blaster collector. I'm not a collector of blasters at all, actually. I'm not a big fan of that. And so for me to get Carrie's signature, I went ahead and obtained a signature edition Thermo Detonator. And then, of course, Harrison Ford only signed the Millennium Falcon. So I do have all three of the original, trilogy signatures, and I was quite satisfied with that. But, as with all collectors, sometimes we get one thing and then it kind of makes us think about other things. And I always kind of had been somewhat attracted to the as first built types of collectibles for Master Replicas. They don't have too many of them. The only one I remember and I own is the Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 4 as first built by a lightsaber. Obviously, I own that one because I collect lightsabers. But this is another example of the as first built by version. The original Thermo Detonator from Return of the Jedi, of course, is very weathered, and that's the one that they sold both the regular edition and the signature edition. But for the fans, they also created these as first built by versions. That so the idea is this is not canon, not technically accurate, but this is what it would have looked like if you had gotten it brand new or as first built by whatever company had done it. As first built maybe by the company that made these detonators, or in the case of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the lightsaber as it first looked like when he first built it. And these are meant to be pristine, very, very clean versions of the prop. And I felt that the thermal detonator would be an especially nice one to have. This was quite a bit more limited. As you can see, or as you will see, they only made 750 of these. And an opportunity came along to get one at what I felt was a very, very reasonable and strong price. And the quality was quite good. And so I jumped on it, and I'm doing a review on that now. So with that being said, I think we've done enough rotations so you get an idea of how it looks like displayed. And I'm going to take the acrylic case off. Again, this came with little tiny blemishes and scratches, as you can imagine, and many of them do. And I polished it out with my good old trusty Brilliant Eyes. This has served me well through literally 30 lightsaber cases and mirror bases. And so I kind of caught it into action again. So let's get the black backdrop in place. Once that's in place, we'll be able to see this as first built by specimen much more nicely. You can see that it's kind of polished to a mirror sheen. From there, if you look closely, you should be able to see me in my casual t-shirt. And you can see the flash of the camera as well. So it's supposed to be a mirror polish. So very, very nice. Again, you can even see the light from overhead reflecting off of it. It's a very, very nice specimen of the thermal detonator and has a charm all of its own. And I'm glad that I purchased it. Let's take a look at the limitation plaque. So right here, you can see that this is Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, as first built. And the limited edition, this is number 307 out of 750. We'll put that aside for now. And then I won't, of course, read this. This is a private communication, but this is from the seller that I bought it from. I thought it was very nice that he actually wrote a handwritten note telling me about, kind of the prop and what he did to package it, and also telling me to enjoy it. This I felt was very nice. I mean, in the modern age of Facebook Messenger and Instagram and all of that, and email, etc., that he actually took the time to take a pen and actually personalized it. Said, "Hey, hi, Dennis," and then signed his name, and wrote not an insignificant amount. He wrote a couple of sentences. I was quite touched by that, and I really appreciated that. This comes with the original certificate of authenticity, so we're going to open that up. So this is the old type envelope, which is, again, it slides in. It's kind of an interesting mix. So it doesn't open. Usually when you have this type of slit, the whole thing kind of unfolds. But this is like a real envelope. It doesn't do that, but rather than have tape or glue or whatnot, it just actually has this slit so that you can slide it in. So it does show this from an earlier stage of the Master Replicas design. I already showed this to you with the Signature Edition, so it basically kind of shows you how to open it up, how to put in the batteries. Again, the seller was very kind. He actually bought brand new batteries and then packaged it for me. But again, this is nothing too new. For those of you who did not or are not interested in my Signature Edition video review, I'll just sort of, pan through this so that you can actually freeze frame and read this at your leisure. And for those of you who might want this, maybe you bought a thermal detonator without the paperwork, this kind of tells you how to properly take care of it and also how to properly install it. So there you go. And then the rest of these, of course, is the typical standard Master Replicas registration and society membership stuff. Here's the limited warranty. And then this is the actual certificate of authenticity. Again, this, you can tell that this was an older Master Replica. It's extremely heavy stock, paper, really, really good quality. You can see the gold, embossed lettering on both the front and the back. This is the sort of certificate of authenticity that I really love, that I really wish that they kept throughout. I mentioned this several times in my lightsaber reviews, especially the signature editions where you would kind of open out as a trifold or a triptych, and then you would have like, the actor, signing on the left or the right hand side. But as you can see, here's the gold seal, also very classy, Mr. Rothman and Mr. Vogel. And then over here, let me try to focus this properly. Official prop replica. So unfortunately, as you can see, it doesn't mention the thermal detonator specifically. Some of the older ones, they actually are personalized to the point where they actually mention the prop specifically. Here they just say that it's a is a limited edition authentic prop replica. But still, check out the gold certificate of authenticity and the seal, the master replica seal. And then over here, you have the thermal detonator as first built with some information about it. So I'm going to slowly scroll up. As you can see, it becomes unfocused when I get too close to it. This is one of the problems with the iPhone 15 at high def. But at this, I believe, distance, it should be focused enough for you to be able to freeze it and read it. And you can see that they thought it would be interesting to produce a pristine chrome-plated version of this prop that represents the thermal detonator that was brand new before it acquired the weathered appearance typical of many gadgets seen in the Star Wars movies. Yeah, so they talk about that. They made the outer shell of the thermal detonator replica from die-cast metal rather than plastic like the original prop. They also digitally transferred the original sound effects obtained from Skywalker Sound to a sound chip used inside the replica and duplicated the random flash and light patterns as seen on screen. So again, hopefully you can read all of that. I think it's actually quite interesting. And you can definitely feel the weight of this thing. I'll have to find, I have to check out again my version of the, my signature version to see if this was also die cast or not. Or, I mean, obviously it was not chrome plated. So we'll have to take a look at this prop in a little bit more detail. I'm gonna put everything away. So as you can see, this is the base. There's not much to that. It's got 3 legs to hold the thermal detonator in position. As with many of these, these are over 20-year-old collectibles. A lot of them would come with cracks where the legs are attached to the mirror base. The quality wasn't quite there. This was especially frustrating in some of those older lightsabers stands where, again, you can see little cracks where the legs were sunk into the mirror base. So luckily, this one didn't have any of that. It seems like the original owner really took really good care of it. I don't know if he even displayed it much at all. It seems like he got it and he packaged it up and then just put it away. You'll see the little tiny micro scratches in all of these little mirror bases, which is not too bad. And then finally, of course, you have the main attraction, which is this thermal detonator. Take a look at how shiny this is. It definitely has a good weight to it. Again, I haven't done my video review for the signature edition for quite a while. I have to look at it myself to see if they actually also made that one metal as well instead of plastic. I want to say yes, because when I felt the signature edition, even though it was all weathered and accurate to the prop, the screen used prop, it definitely had that heft to it. So my suspicion is that they also used die cast metal and then added the weathering effects. Now, the interesting thing about this is that they said that this was all chrome plated, which would be an insane amount of work and labor if that was indeed the case. But I do kind of believe it because, again, you can see that this is a mirror finish all the way around. It's just absolutely pristine. You can see the bottom of this. Actually, when I got it, there was a lot of black discolorations around one side of this. And I was frankly a little bit worried. I thought this would have been damaged or, that the buyer had forgotten to show me the imperfections. But as it turned out, a little bit of brilliant and then a microfiber cloth actually completely polished that off. And what it was really was just basically the foam that this was stuck in, basically becoming attached to it probably over time and temperature changes. And if this is chrome plated, remember that's a really big difference. A really big difference between chrome paint and chrome plating. Chrome paint is still very common, and if you apply it in many, many layers, you'll get an effect very similar to this, extremely shiny. This is often done for Silver Surfer statues, for instance, because his iconic look, is of course, basically the Silver Surfer. He's shiny. But in reality, an actual plating where you're using electroplating to create this sort of metallic cover is really, really old. They just simply don't do it anymore because essentially it's an automotive type of a finish and done in kind of vacuum seal chambers in automotive factories, which is in 2024 completely ridiculous expense for collectibles. They just don't do that anymore. They used to first do it, I think Sideshow Collectibles did it with their Terminator 2 endoskull bust. And I think there was one most recent memory where First for Figures did a gold chrome for their Lucky Cat Mario statues. And it's just very difficult because without proper environmental control, little tiny microscopic specks of dust can get trapped and then chromed, and you'll see a little imperfection. Then you have to scrap the whole thing. So again, because of these reasons, it was just deemed simply not cost efficient to do this type of finish for just simple prop collectibles. You're not doing this for a car, for instance, or anything like that. The price point just simply wasn't there. And so if this is indeed chrome plated, it's sort of a callback to an older era when these things were more financially feasible for the factories to do, and which can never be done again, moving forward. But I can certainly believe that if you look at it closely. Unfortunately, if you look really closely at this, with my iPhone 15 camera, which is supposed to be a 4K camera, super high quality, but it still has these stupid glitches that they haven't fixed yet in the camera version where, when you go really, really close, it just basically blurs out. It doesn't automatically shift into macro view. I have to actually, I think, change it a little bit. And then it engages the other camera so you can finally see some of the detail there. But as you can see, it's a beautiful, beautiful finish. There's these little tiny smudge marks that you can see under super high def. But under normal inspection, it just looks like a mirror finish, There's a little bit of that right here in this panel that you can probably polish out. But you can definitely tell the chrome. It's very, very nice and heavy. This part is necessarily plastic. And then when you want to change the battery, you just simply twist it. In this case, you just twist it, I guess, clockwise. You lift it, you can see the end batteries in position here. Very, very nice. That was one of the other things that kind of bothered me, actually, about the signature version of the thermal detonator, is that it doesn't actually tell you, there's no area where it says that it's a signature edition, actually, believe it or not. So, technically you could just get a regular edition, weathered, and then as long as you have the signature certificate, you could mix and match, which kind of bothers me. Obviously, I'm used to the lightsabers, and in the lightsabers, they're all engraved with signature edition, but I could not find that in the thermal detonator version. I did get it from a fellow collector, whose integrity is beyond question, and so I'm confident it's authentic, but still, it would have been nice to have that, obviously. So you saw how I just put it together and it just snapped it into position. So of course, the iconic part of this is that it has power And if you move it backward, it will have light and sound. So here we go. Let me demonstrate for you. So the middle 3 flash randomly. You have the red light here. And then if you want to stop it, you just slide this thing forward. It'll actually stop by itself. And then it will recycle. So the sound and lights work perfectly. A lot of these don't. Now, whether this is because of a manufacturing issue or whether people just weren't taking care of it is anyone's guess. But finding ones with not only properly working lights, but a nice, strong sound chip is not that common. And so I'm very happy with this version, again, as first built, beautifully chromed, mirror finish, and with excellent lights and sound, okay? So definitely nothing to complain about there. It's an iconic piece and will be a very, very wonderful, worthy companion to my signature edition version of this. So there you go. I'll probably take the batteries out and store it without the batteries, just because you don't want it to, eventually, some of them, if you're not lucky, if the battery quality is not properly maintained, to just get unlucky, have a bad battery, it could leak and then damage the internal circuits. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of collectors where they're just saying, well, it's inevitable, it's really, really common that the sound chip dies or whatever. And I feel like, yeah, part of that's probably luck, but another part of it is just how will you take care of it, where do you store it? If you drop it, for instance, or anything, like, that happens. I mean, if you look at some of the old YouTube videos, kids were playing with some of these. And so if you dropped it or, didn't take care of it properly, the internal wiring is very delicate. I can see definitely how the sound may, have a problem. But as you can see, the sound here is very, very nice. We'll close that off. So yeah, that's basically it. I'm going to place it back into position. And we're gonna put the plaque in place. And then I'll take the backdrop off. Get this thing in position right here. And there you go. This is the Star Wars Return of the Jedi Master Replicas thermal detonator as first built. Hope you enjoyed that review. I didn't think there would be that much to say about it, but as usual, I ramble on. My original review for the signature edition was like over half an hour, and I thought this one would be really fast, but it took a good 23 plus minutes. But as you can imagine, there's, the way I do them, it just always takes a certain amount of time because I always kind of talk about the history of the piece, my feelings about the piece, and how I acquired it, and then I always show you what it looks like with the mirror base and the display case on. I take it off, and then I go through the certificate, I freeze it for you so you can read it, and then I kind of play around with the actual prop itself. And so in a sense, there really isn't a great way of doing this faster. But I hope you enjoyed it. I looked on YouTube, and I think there's only very few of these, of all types. I think there was an as first built, and usually these clips are like literally, the YouTube reviews are only 1 minute, 2 minutes, and maybe some of you would prefer that, but of course then those YouTube videos are there for you. They're already 1 or 2 minutes. These are deep dives with a lot of, kind of close-ups and discussions about what we're seeing. Hold on a second, let me get it down to 1x magnification. So yeah, that's kind of what I like to do with my reviews. So I hope you enjoyed it. Moving into the future, there are a couple other ones I want to do. I still want to do my J&D Batman dual statues. I have a Henry Cavill J&D in the works. That's just came in. And I do actually own a Mace limited edition. I like to compare with the signature edition to showcase the different gold plating finishes, and a couple lightsabers from EFX that's still kind of we're waiting on, that's going to come in. So some cool stuff that's still out there that's just kind of waiting for me to get to it. So that's just a little sneak peek of what's coming. Thanks again for doing this with me, and until next time, do take care.